In this video, we're going to explore the CMS. To get to the CMS, all you have to do is click here and a panel will open where you can see the CMS and build it. In this case, the CMS has already been built, so that's why you can see a series of collections here. If the CMS hadn't been built, this area would be empty and we'd have a button here to add collections. The collections are the fundamental element when building the CMS. The collections organize the content within your site, just like folders. Folders that organize similar types of content. For example, here we have a collection of articles. This is a folder that has all of the articles that appear within our site. And here we have a folder of artists. It holds all of the different artists that we have on our site. If we have a quick look here at the releases collection, we can see that there are a series of albums. These are all the albums that appear within our site. I'm going to click into one of these entries and we can see an album from here. So the content manager will have to fill out a form, just like this one, when they want to add an album to this collection, for it to appear on the site or app. In this case, the values associated with this album have already been populated, but when we create a collection, we are also creating a form. In this case, this form is the form that corresponds to the filling out of the album collection. So I'm just going to come out of here. When the content manager wants to create a new album, all they have to do is click Add New Entry, and a new entry form will appear here. This means that all of these albums were populated using the same form. So to create a collection so that you can create this album form, all you have to do is click here in New Collection, where you can write the name of this collection. I'm going to call this collection Test. You can hide the collection here if the CMS were more complex. And here we have the collection attributes. The collection attributes are very important and appear here by default. We can add new collection attributes here by clicking Add Attribute. When we add an attribute, we are really adding a new field in the form that the content manager will later populate. I'm going to add the name of the attribute. It's important that the name explains what the field is going to be used for, as this is the name that will appear on the form. I'm going to go here to the side. This is the area that the content manager will use to work. I'm now going to go to the releases. I'm going to click into a random entry, and if you look here, you can see that the cover, essential, and release date are all a name attribute. Okay, so as I already mentioned, it's important to name the attributes so that we know what the field is for. Now we need to change the type of attribute. So what kind of field is going to be filled out by the content manager? So if we have a description, we're going to want this to be a text field. However, there are other attributes such as image, link, file upload, color, number, etc. Here we can also hide the content manager's attribute. We have some specific possibilities for this type of attribute here. In this case, I'm going to select multi-line, as the description field is going to have more than one line. This here is called the help text. This field is interesting as it helps the content manager understand what this field is used for. Now I'm just going to show you where the help text can be seen within the field. As you can see, it will appear down here. Now if we go back, we can also make it obligatory to populate this field. I'm going to save now. And as you can see, the attribute is here. We can also drag and drop this attribute like this to organize the order in which these fields are filled out on the form. So now I'm going to come out of here and I'm going to confirm that these alterations have been made to the collection we just created called Test. So if I click into the text collection, we can see that it's empty as we still haven't added any entry. But we can do that here by clicking Add New Entry. And as you can see, when we click it, the form has been created. It only has one entry as we created it and called it description. You can see it here, and you can also see that it's a text with multi-line entry. So now you know how to create a collection and what collections are used for. We also know how to create attributes, which will create the fields for forms. Now we need to know what collections we need to create when we're building a site. So to do this, I'm going to look here on the site. I'm going to the site's homepage, and all you have to do is try and understand what lists your site is going to need. As we can see here, we have a slider. This slider is a list of articles. There are various articles here. We also have a list of albums. There's another list here. It doesn't have a slider, but it has 3 collections. There's also a collection of articles, a collection of albums, and here another collection of articles, and finally, the different subscription plans. Now we're going to use the album collection as an example. So we're going to think about the different attributes that an album detail page should have. If I click on the album, we can see that it has an image. It also has a reference to the artist. It has a title, a description, a video, etc. So if I want these different types of content to appear on an album detail page, I have to create an album collection that has attributes that will allow the content manager to then populate with these different types of content. So I'm going to need an image attribute. I need a single ref that will pull the album's artist name. I'll also need a single line text field, and I will also need a link to add the video from YouTube. So it's easy to understand what kind of collections we're going to need to build our CMS by just looking at the different lists that we have on our site. We can also understand which attributes this collection will need if we think about what the detail page for one of those items that belongs to the same collection or list will need. So if we now come back to the app, we can always come back to the collections. If we come to this collection that has already been built and then go to settings and create new attributes. And if we now imagine that our detail page needs more information, we can add a new attribute here that will create a new field to be filled out. We can also delete attributes here on the form. So as you can see, it is very easy to structure your CMS, and we can do this continuously as this is not static.